it's not really too much of a romance story, and I wanted to avoid romantic cliches because they're sort of quite obvious. I wanted there's certain elements of surprise more than romance. Like the main character, the working class Tory, Roger Barrett, he meets Ruby Rouge, who's this singer, and their lives are so different. And they, outside Cambridge, they meet. They would never have met in Cambridge. And the point is that they meet, but at a very subconscious level, regardless of any romance or attraction, something passed between them, a sort of slight taboo, something taboo passed between them at a very sort of subconscious level, and that was the attraction, because she had sort of wants and needs. She wanted more security, and she found this kind of fun-loving guy and felt that she's, sort of struck gold. He wanted something that nobody has ever given him before. He had all the privileges that life had given him, and he was, the top of his profession, Cambridge high flyer, but there was one thing missing in his life, and that was inner freedom. And no one in his family or his colleagues had ever given it. This lady, who's reasonably attractive, probably not that pretty, but sort of average, but somehow at a very subconscious level, gives to him this freedom. And whilst on this holiday, they're having a wonderful time, but then when the holiday finishes, he has to return back to his normal life, and then his mind starts rebelling against him. And then that's where all slight changes in the story. I am just fulfilling, as you were. I don't want to put the word fantasy, because that's probably a bit too strong, but this is like sort of, if I say this is the nearest that I'm ever going to be being like Agatha Christie or Frederick Forsyth, then that is a kind of dream come true. The Agatha Christie side of the story is like focusing on human relationships, and then the Frederick Forsyth is like focusing on the espionage and the sort of the robbery side and the intelligence of capturing the people who have stolen the painting. So I'm sort of working with that as influence. And then simply everything else. There's a lot of popular song culture in the story too, which is what I grew up with. And I've put a lot of that in that. And it's instantly recognizable. So I'm working with all those things. There's a lot of English atmosphere, a lot of psychology, there's a serious side as well as some English humor, and a kind of insight into the English class system, which is a kind of a phenomena sort of outside England, as it were. So I wanted to focus on all those things and bring it all together with Central Europe, Mukachevo, Uzhgorod, Hungary, Budapest, and even Serbia. I think for anyone really, it's that broad. It's a broad spectrum of young and old people combined. So I think it would appeal to young and old people alike. I'm not targeting a younger audience, I mean, how they perceive the book, I don't know. I mean, that's yet to be known. And there will be someone who won't like it. There's always is. If you put yourself in the front line, there's always somebody who doesn't like what you do, and then you have to put up with that. But I think basically it's an open general book that I'd like to see in the open general bookshops, for everyone to see. Because I think it's a lovely picture for a start, and it's well known. Basically, it's very well known. And its word association, Monsieur, Mukachevo, Munkach, it fits well. I couldn't find anything else that could fit better. Okay, well, it's a great question, and I can give a very good answer. The painting itself is quite world famous. It's probably not so well known as the Mona Lisa, but it's famous enough, and it has been exhibited around the world. Now, Ruby Rouge, who is now seeking her rights, because now the two main characters, Barrett and Rouge, now separated, she doesn't want money. She's not a gold digger, but she wants a particular painting. And if he can get his painting for her, she will set him free. And that is the painting. And also because Ruby Rouge has ancestral, has a Uzhgorod ancestry dating back to World War I. So there's a slight connection there. And Munkac, she comes from this region anyway. And so she's vaguely familiar with Mukachevo, but it's a particular painting that she wants because she convinces about those are my ancestors in the painting, so I must have it, regardless of the location and regardless of anything else. So I don't care where it comes from, I want it. Uzhgorod is a kind of a, it's probably sort of a well-known place. When you look on the map, Uzhgorod is written in bigger letters than Mukachevo, I think. And it's probably sort of slightly short, it's nearer to get to from the border. And I probably wrote more about Uzhgorod because I know it better than all the other towns. So I know where everything is. So in that sense, that relates, that fits in. And, you know, so that works well there. And the administration center also comes in, the story. But Mukachevo town doesn't come in at all. It's just merely the castle and then the main road for the getaway to Chop train station. Half the story is true, the other half is not. And I've added and I've exaggerated and I've put in much in to make it into a story. You know, ultimately it's a part real, part fantasy.
So can you say that that's partly based on a true story?
Yeah, to a certain degree, yes. I mean, I've put in all my ingredients. I lived and grew up in England, and that's strongly embedded in me. I've also spent a considerable amount of time in Central Europe, and I think that's, in the last 10 years, that's also embedded into me in a strong, significant way. So I've put all these things together to try and create something that might have appeal, the contrast of the cultures, and bring them together at the same time. Those people, and I, Mr. I am intertwining through these people in my Cambridge life. And also Cambridge is a sort of well-known academic excellence. It's also got a bit of an espionage side to it. And the writer of James Bond graduated in Cambridge. And there's quite a lot of even sort of secret former Soviet spies that also went to Cambridge. So there's a real mixture of that. It's a slight undercurrent of espionage in Cambridge. And I am sort of intertwining through that as well as a certain amount of academic elitism before eventually leaving town. Two dead bodies.
Two dead bodies?
Two dead bodies, yes.
Can you name them or not now?
It's okay. Well, of the story. He dies about 2/3 of the way into the story. But even life after death, he is prominent until the very end. So although he dies 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the story, he is there in all the text. Dear readers, for all of those who would like to read something new in the new year, please may I introduce you to The Promenade in Park Mukachevo. A new story written by me, Alexander Stemp, from Great Britain. And here it is. And I look very forward to having this book published and released sometime in the spring. And I look forward to presenting this book to you sometime in Uzhgorod in the very near future.